Hello, welcome to Family We've Got Your Back. I'm Michelle Christensen. I'm a family scientist.
I'm Trent Christensen. I'm a teacher that is off for Friday.
Because he had parent-teacher conferences, which means he had two 12-hour days this week, and so he gets Friday off.
One of them was a 15-hour day.
Oh, well, that's a bonus.
It wasn't a bonus at all. Yeah, my son had a practice on Tuesday night.
But you weren't working
so
the 15 hours.
No, I wasn't working 15 hours.
You were just at the school for
15 hours.
Okay, so we've discovered if we take the screen protector off, it actually works, and I can touch it, and it's not ridiculously frustrating. So anyway, so screen protector's off. We can talk about peacemaking, right? And so we talked about forgiveness the first 2 weeks because that was, the chapter. And then peacemaking has a lot to do with forgiveness, right?
Yeah, a ton. How can you be at peace with yourself if you can't forgive?
Right?
Yeah.
How can you be at peace with others if you can't forgive?
Right.
Right? And so the definition that we chose for peacemaking is the act of resolving conflict or avoiding it. Right? So with what it isn't, the explanation of the definition goes along with this one. It's not like avoiding conflict does not mean you ignore a problem. It means you don't fight about it, right? Mm-hmm. You're not causing a problem trying to fix the problem.
Yeah. I think one common thing that is associated with this idea is the passive-aggressive lifestyle.
Right.
Because like, you let it, you
ignore it. You're like, okay, it's...
And then it becomes the straw that broke the camel's back.
Right.
It's like, I'm so tired of this, and venting happens, and no good.
Yeah.
No good.
Yeah. So think of it like a little spot of cancer. Your doctor says, oh, you've just got this teeny little bit of cancer. Oh, it's okay. And you ignore it and hope it goes away. And then you have this big tumor and you die, right? I mean, that's kind of what we're talking about here, is that's not what peacemaking is. Seeing that there's a problem, but, I don't want to cause a problem, right? Don't rock the boat.
Well, I think it's erroneous to think that it has to be a problem for you to find a resolution for it. Right. If it's not a problem, you're aware of it, you can take care of it. There's some kind of unbalance or whatever, but you don't have to perceive this as this big, ugly thing that's looming, right?
Right. And then you don't have to wait until it's this big, awful thing.
Right.
In order to be a peacemaker, mm-hmm. Right? Like, one thing that I heard about men and women's work styles in the office is men are praised for their conflict resolution skills often, where women notice that there's a problem and resolve it before there's a conflict.
Oh.
And so they don't need conflict resolution skills because they foresaw it could be a conflict and just took care of it before it was a problem. Right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So it's like, yes, women have great conflict resolution skills, but they'd rather not have a conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I still remember, shout out to my mom.
Best lady on earth, Tanya.
She was a teacher, and she would foresee the people in the class that were going to be taking away from the learning environment. And she would have a way to reroute the conversation back to what it needed to be.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you do.
I don't know the specifics, but no. I know the situation that you're talking about.
But it was a conscious effort in her mind to think about the people in her circles and do something to avoid potential damage, right? Or sidetrackedness or tangents or whatever it was, right? And supremely great at it. Supremely great at it. I don't have a specific situation.
Right, but
it's just in general.
She's able to foresee potential problems and come up with a
solution before there's a problem.
Yeah, like a different path. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, and so also holding your tongue. So there's a problem. You're upset about it, but you choose to not do anything about it, and you just don't say anything, and you just live with it. And you're just like, it's not my place. I'm not going to say anything. And sometimes that evolves into the festering problem of number one, or you just learn to not be bothered by it, and so therefore it's not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but neither of those are peacemaking strategies. Neither of those are actively being a peacemaker. They're just avoiding, right? And peacemaking is not avoidance, like a lot of people think. Like a lot of people think that in my heart, I'm not a peacemaker because I
do something
address issues in a loving, kind way, and the response isn't always peaceful, and so therefore I'm the problem. I'm like, no, there is a problem. I'm addressing it. You just didn't
like how it was addressed.
That I'm trying to solve a problem. So a lot of it is I addressed it wrong, but because I'm awkward, right? Yeah. But a lot of it is also people not wanting to see that there's an issue, and they're like, there's nothing wrong. I'm like, I'm doing this wrong. You're doing this wrong. Let's figure out a way to not do these wrong things. Mm-hmm. And they're like, and so peacemaking is not always, can be a one person thing, like your mother, but a lot of times it has to be, the other has to be involved as well. Yeah. Right? Like sometimes in order for there to be a resolution of the problem, there have to be cooperation on both sides. And that is difficult because you don't get to control other people. So what peacemaking is, it's problem solving where nobody loses. Like often it's called win-win, but I also think it's not compromise, like where you feel like, well, because I gave up my important point, and so I feel like I lost, even though it's resolved, right?
Yeah.
Even though I still get something from it, and so people call it a win-win, but it's really, it's where
like
no one feels like they have to sacrifice, and no one feels that they lose in any way, right? But if you can come up with a solution that everybody's happy with and genuinely happy, where people aren't hurt by it.
Yeah, if the views are not completely polar, right? Because in some situations where you have a complete difference of opinion, you can't really resolve it. There has to be some sort of sacrifice involved.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're Palestine and I'm Israel, or vice versa, there's no really happy medium there.
So
somebody's always going to feel like they lost. Right. But most situations, that we're talking about here is like there's just a disconnect, maybe. Yeah.
And maybe you just don't see it quite the same way. But you're all wanting to be happy, right? Yeah. You're wanting to have relationships that are solid. And so in that situation, you definitely can find a win-win. It might be difficult, right?
Yeah.
But you don't have to sacrifice stuff if you have the similar goals, Right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, it would be more like, okay, so what's the most important thing to you? What's the most important thing to you? Okay, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
How can we
bring it to pass,
yeah. Right? Like so a lot of times it's just trying for understanding is the best way to be a peacemaker.
Right.
But also, like I said, if there is a real problem, it's got to be solved, and there's going to be a conflict, and you will be labeled someone who is not a peacemaker because you were causing this trouble. But in the end, your real goal is harmony, peace, unity, a stronger relationship, right? And so sometimes there's a little bit of troubled waters that you have to go through to get to that point, right?
And hopefully it's
hopefully it is just a little turbulence and not, the plane crashes. Right? So peacemaking is addressing issues without anger, contention, or retribution. Like if you bring up an issue out of revenge, right? That's not
trying to make
that's not peacemaking, right? If your feelings are hurt, and so therefore your reaction is, well, I'm going to hurt them, and so this is the solution to the problem, and they get hurt because I was hurt. That's not peacemaking.
Yeah, as parents, we often talk about how it's okay to confront the children, but there needs to be that increase of love afterwards, so that they would know you're on the same page.
Not confrontation, but more correction.
Correction. Yeah, that's the better word.
Children need correction, and guidance and steering and leading, and they're not fans of that.
No, typically. Sometimes it's easier than others.
Typically, it's more like, I'm going to do it my way, I'm going to do it myself. Especially a 3-year-old, right? No, I do it. Right?
Yeah.
Right? And, okay, you can wear those purple pants and whatever, and orange and green and yellow and your princess dress over the top. Whatever. Like, okay, whatever, you do it. That's not a big deal. But, right, they're learning as little ones. And as they grow, teenagers still need guidance and boundaries. They need to understand how to safely operate within the rules, and so that they can maximize the benefit of whatever situation they're in, right? Because if they're breaking rules, there's negative consequences. But if they can learn to operate within the system and say, okay, this is how the system works.
Then this is maximizing
this
happiness.
is what I want, so how can I get it within the boundaries, right? And we're not talking about we're talking about like your family system boundaries or law boundaries.
Right.
We're not talking about like social customs that are harmful that you have to obey and live within. We're not talking about that. We're talking about like actual legal, spiritual consequences, right?
Yeah.
And household. Like if you track mud in the house and leave it, there's a rule in our house that you don't make a big mess. And if you do, you clean it up, right? There are consequences when you make a big mess. The consequence is clean it up. And if you don't clean it up, then you get your phone taken away or your laptop or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your tablet or your tech taken away, right? Type thing until you do your job, right? So, operating within the system or within safe boundaries, that helps you keep the peace.
Yeah.
Right? Because then you're not harming someone else. And so therefore, if you're not harming someone else, you have learned to be a peacemaker, which is problem solving where nobody loses because the problem is solved before it happens.
Yeah.
Right? You avoid the problem. And so therefore, that is peacemaking. Because the problem never pops up because you planned ahead. Right? Yeah. So that's the kind of thing we're talking about. And we'll get more into specifics, but these are more generalizations that we're talking about this week. And next week, we'll talk about more specific situations. So we might do a little role playing, or we'll come up with a fun way, or discussing scenarios, not role playing. I meant discuss scenarios.
Oh, scenarios is more
That's what I meant.
That's more down my alley.
Yeah, that's what I meant. What
we could
would
do a
you
role
do
play.
in this situation? No. That's not what I meant. I meant, what would you do in this situation? What would be the best way to resolve this situation in a peacemaking way?
I don't think
right?
you know what you're talking about.
Okay.
See, I'm doing it right now.
Right. And I said, okay. I
Let it go.
let it go because I'm like, well, if he doesn't want to understand, it doesn't hurt me. Right. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Not being bothered, not choosing offense.
Right.
And that's another way to be a peacemaker is to not get offended. Like people say rude things and they don't realize it. That they've been rude. And so you just choose not to be offended.
I deal with 8th graders a lot.
Yeah, choosing not to be offended is a thing.
It's a thing.
So just, if you're like, hey, whatever, people make mistakes, doesn't hurt me if I don't choose to let it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so our goal for this week, our assignment, come on. Okay, apparently I have no feeling. Be a peacemaker. Instead of arguing when you could, choose not to argue. If there's a situation that's brought up, say, okay, how can I be pleasant in this situation?
Right.
How can we resolve it? How can we be on the same team
Right. Yeah.
to resolve this issue? Right? Because that's what your relationships are, is you are a team. You are fighting for the same goal, right? You are working, not fighting, working for the same end result.
Mm-hmm.
So you're on the same team. And if you can come into a conflict or problem or an issue realizing that you're on the same team, then that's you're halfway there. You know, half the problem's already solved. Yeah. So anyway, be a peacemaker this week and see how it goes.
And
see how it strengthens your relationships. Happy
Valentine's Day.
Yes, happy Valentine's Day if you're watching it.
Last week, whatever.
And enjoy the rest of the Olympics if you're watching it as we post as well. Okay, bye guys.
Bye.